This is a Fender twin reverb reissue, and a client dropped this off, said he had it worked on by a different guy, and wanted a mids pot added, changed out on the vibrato channel for more gain available. And he's unhappy with the work and wants to know what was done, because the whole thing's acting very strange. And from a cursory glance of what I've seen, bad work has not been done. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus unnecessarily. Some odd choices seem to have been made. I'll show you that as we go through. There's been a couple of repairs that I'm not 100% in favor of. Overall, though, from what I can see, I can F&T here. That's good. I don't see any nightmares from the replacement mids pot. But let's see what it sounds like. He said that both channels are really affected crazily by the mids, like it's just going nuts, which might indicate a ground connection. Let's take out a standby. And I'm going to try the normal channel first with a Telecaster. Now that all seems just fine. One thing I notice as I'm sitting here level with the amp pretty much, these two connectors aren't fully seated. This one especially is a little bit up on the left. So let me fully seat those without electrocuting myself. Just in case one of those was giving him a partial ground connection, that could explain things. Let's go to the other channel, the reverb channel, vibrato channel. Now on this channel, the tech took out the 10K audio taper mids pot and put in a 100K audio taper mids pot, which is exactly the same thing I do on a lot of these Fenders. So let's see how it behaves. I've got to say it's behaving exactly as I would expect it to. It sounds fine. The only thing I can say is that the new pot that's in there is not a bracketed pot. You can see the bracket holes are empty, but it seems to have been professionally removed and changed out. And the solder has been reflowed on the bass, so the reverb of the bass and the treble pots in that area. Maybe there's some solder joints that were broken. So I'm not seeing any mistakes from the other guy, let alone, or anything bad. I'll show you the two things I see that need addressing beyond what he's already done. And then there's a potential mystery in the doghouse I want to take a look at. All right, here you can see at this fuse holder, there's some extra solder at this fuse holder and this wire going from here to this quick connect. As I've shown in previous videos on the Fender reissues, these quick connects are not good choices for the heaters, and they can burn the board and burn the traces that these fuse holders attach to. Now, according to the EU regulations, Fender has to have a fuse on the heater, but the owner does not have to have a fuse on the heater, and it's not a US thing. So what I do on these is, as I've shown in others, is I will remove all these zip ties, undo the cables. I will remove these quick connects from these two green wires, which are the heaters, and I'll solder them directly to the octal tube socket, just like on the 60s Fenders, and then that problem goes away. Here you can see some discoloration underneath this thermistor, TH1. That's not too uncommon, and that thermistor is really not necessary. I may bypass that. I may find a different way to do that just so that heat damage doesn't build up and damage the board. And like most twin reissues, it's got this really stupid heater balance pot, which is not rated for the current present through it, and they always burn up and they always get bad ground connections to the chassis. This is this is a seemingly luxury option to have a heater balance pot, but unless it's a 2-watt pot, and this is a 1/4 watt or 1/3 watt pot at best, it's not a good idea. So the fix, like all the other Fenders, is to take this out and just put in some 1/2 watt resistors that are up to the task. That is 1/2 a watt per side, as opposed to, 1/5 of a watt per side. It does make a difference. What is worrying, however, is that there is silicone beneath the doghouse. So the doghouse has been sealed to the chassis with silicone. And I don't know that the guy who just worked on this amp did that. That might have been a previous tech. I don't know the repair history of this. I hope it's not just a Charlie Foxtrot silicone fest. Let's check it out. Let's see if this is as full of silicone as the Nashville beer bike bridezilla things. No, okay. I don't know why there's silicone on the chassis. There doesn't need to be. It doesn't do a damn bit of good for us, but that looks well done. That looks like the job I would do. It's got F&Ts with the right amount of silicone where it belongs. It's got these good Vichy 1-watt metal films. So I have no problem with whoever did this work. And I don't know that the person who did this work is responsible for the silicone, but that's a non-starter. So we don't have a problem in the filter caps. Far from it. This is great. I don't see a problem anywhere, and I'm not hearing the problem that the owner had. The only problems I see are the ones with the heaters and the heater balance and the thermistor, which are not immediate problems. They're just something I'd like to address before too much time passes. So it's possible that quick connect, that multi-ribbon cable that I pushed down was even looser before, and there was a ground that wasn't being made. This is going to take some more testing. Maybe let this run in the background while I do other things and see what I find, if I find anything. But I can certainly say with no hesitations that the guy who did this work did not do any bad job at all. And I will let the owner know that before this video posts, so he doesn't sit there stewing about this guy messing up his amp, because as far as I can tell, that guy did a very good job with his amp. Well, I spoke to the owner and reported my findings, and he approved the following changes. So I just snipped the 2 wires going to this useless and unreliable hum balance pot in the heater supply from their connections here. I disconnected the 2 green wires from the 2 quick connects here, undid these bundles, reconnected the heater wires directly to pins 2 and 7 of this octal socket, redid the bundles. This is exactly how Fender wired them in the 60s and 70s. It always works just fine, because I no longer had this not very good, but serving a purpose heater balance circuit here. I put in 100 ohm 1/2 watt resistors here at this octal socket going to ground here in 3, the cathode. Sorry, 8. Sorry, pin 8, the cathode. I was thinking of the wrong tube type. And then that left us with this thermistor, which had toasted the board. There's just a quick connect here and a quick connect here that is just in sequence between them, in series between them. And there were 2 quick connects here on the board that are tied together on the board that are not connected to anything else. It's part of this thing can be sold in the European market with a 240 volt or a universal transformer, and you connect to different points on the board to set that voltage. And so they were free. And so the 2 white wires, which are the neutral wires coming from the power switch and going to the neutral, one of the primaries to the power transformer, I just moved to those 2 quick connects there. So no big mods or anything. It can always be put back. The other fix would be to replace this thermistor with one mounted higher off the board, but it doesn't really do anything you need. It's not a necessary thing in this amp. So let me let you hear what it sounds like. Now, remember, the owner's complaints on this amp were threefold. That the mids control on both channels did crazy gain, that it wasn't responding well, and the reverb had a terrible squeal feedback, all of which sounded to me as if the amp just had a ground not be connected. And I suspected possibly that this not being all the way seated was the issue. And as you saw earlier in the video, I did seat that, and I've confirmed all the grounds are good in the amp. This thing's been running now for 12 plus hours without any issues. So let me let you hear what it sounds like now. I'm going to start with the normal channel. Mids down, mids all the way up. Now, one concern he had was that if you turn all the treble, mid, bass controls all the way off, you lose volume. That is actually normal for the treble, middle, bass Fenders. Most Fenders don't have a mids pot, they just have a fixed mids resistor. So as you turn down the treble and bass, you still have signal. With the twin and the vibrato channel super reverb, you don't. If you turn all those pots down, you lose all your signal. So all that is normal. Now let's check the vibrato/reverb channel. He said he had reverb squeal. Now I've got it hooked up to my tank right now. I will be connecting this to the tank it came with after this. Just in case there's a problem in the tank. If you have a short in a tank, sometimes you can get oscillation and feedback. But with my test tank, so obviously it's working just fine. At least with my tank, which means the circuit inside the amp is fine. Let me turn that reverb down and let you hear the mids pot in this, which goes to 100K. So the mids pot that the other tech put in here is working exactly as advertised, exactly as intended. If this were to lose ground, as I suspect that it was, as the owner got it back, for whatever reason, you could have no tone stack whatsoever, and both channels would have a lot more gain, and you could have unstable reverb. Let me hook up let me put this in its cabinet, connect it to its speakers with its reverb tank, and confirm that everything is good. All right, back with its own speakers and its own reverb tank. Well, it's enough bad blues, but it makes the point. The amp is very, very healthy. Remember, this is after I ran it for like 12 hours. I think this was just a fluke. I don't think that the owner has anything to worry about as far as what the other tech did. I think he did a good job. The things that I changed were just sweetenings beyond what was initially asked of the other guys. So I hope that everyone will end up in a happy place after this. Hope you enjoyed this. Got some more old Fenders and Marshalls coming up this week. And as always, thanks for watching.